following show is controversial and contains content you may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised.
98 FM's Dublin Talks. Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
Wednesday morning. Good morning. How are you this morning? Everything good with you? I hope it is. I'm Adrian Kennedy, and between now and midday today, this is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. So what have we got for you on the programme today? Well, let me tell you. Last week on the show, we heard a very sad story. Jeremy spoke to the father of a 10-year-old boy who was having suicidal thoughts over being bullied. If you didn't hear the show, just let that sink in for a second. A 10-year-old who's having suicidal thoughts over being bullied. We did promise we'd follow up on that. I'll be talking to that father in just a moment. Also, every house should have one. We're going to be asking in a couple of minutes, is it time for the government to provide every household in the country with a breathalyser for drink driving? Particularly for the morning after the night before, because a lot of people don't know how much they're able to drink and when they can drive their car the next day. So in order to make it easy for people, should the state provide a free breathalyser to everybody? One politician believes that that's what we should be doing. At 11, figures out today show how big of a problem long-term unemployment is. And we ask, is it time that we introduced a cut-off point? I mean, there were 700 people. These figures out today, unbelievable. 700 people have been on the dole for more than 20 years. Now, I'm not talking about sickness benefit or disability benefit. I'm talking about people who are in receipt of social welfare for over 20 years. 700 of them. What have they been doing? We haven't had a 20-year recession. Anyway, we'll find out about that a little bit later on. And what little silly things are your children afraid of? We'll be hearing a story of how a trip yesterday to a car wash with a child ended in hysterics. And I don't mean laughter. Yep. Child wasn't able to cope at all. We also want to talk about long-distance relationships. We've a lot to get through. In fact, if you've ever been in a long-distance relationship, we'd love to hear from you. You can text or WhatsApp us on 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. Where did you live? Where did the other person live? And how did you cope with a long-distance relationship? Now, it could be between Dublin and Kerry. That's long distance. In fact, it takes longer to drive to Killarney than it does to fly to London. So I'd like to, text or WhatsApp us right now to 0877 98 98 98. Where were you? Where was the other person? And how did you cope with the long distance relationship? As I said, it's a busy show between now and midday today. But first off on the programme, I mentioned this a second ago. Last week on the programme, our Jeremy spoke to a father of a 10-year-old child who was being so badly bullied, this young fella was having suicidal thoughts at 10 years of age. I'm going to be speaking to his father live in just a moment, but let me just remind you, for those of you who didn't hear the programme last week, including myself because I was off, here is some of the interview with this father, Francis, with Jeremy on the programme last week, and I will warn you, this is a little bit distressing.
My son was horrifically bullied in school to the extent where he actually spoke about taking his own life, and we brought it to the school's attention by one particular child, and it was 3 different occasions, and on all 3 occasions it was actually identified that this guy was bullying my child.
And sorry for cutting across you, Francis. What age was your child at that time?
At 10.
And at 10 years of age, he was expressing suicidal thoughts because of bullying?
Yeah, because he just wanted it to end.
Did he say this to you, or how did you know about that?
He said it to another child in his class, and it was brought to our attention.
What he said to a classmate, I want to end my life because of the bullies?
Yeah, absolutely. It was heartbreaking. It got back to the bully, and the bully ran up to my son and my son's cousin when they were leaving school, and said it to my son's cousin to kind of antagonise them. He used it as a further antagonising tool. We had extensive meetings in the school. One meeting actually went on for 4 hours with the parents, the other child, and myself and my wife. and it was found out, it was identified again after having 2 previous meetings with the school. That was also identified that this guy was bullying my child. It was identified again at the particular 3rd meeting that it was happening, and the school basically they're afraid to do anything about it.
So even after the school knowing that your child was having suicidal thoughts at the age of 10 because of the bullying, they refused to act upon it.
Yes, they didn't take any action against it. They suggested that the child be suspended, but never actually came to happen.
So how did it end up, Francis, in the end?
Myself and my wife is pretty recent, so we're not finished with how we're looking to proceed about it. But we threatened legal action.
Legal action against the school or the parents?
And both.
Fair play to you. Fair play.
Myself and my wife, we sat in the office crying in the school office.
How did that make you feel as a parent?
Annoyed, angry at the school. We try our best, to protect our children. We should think when they go into school that they're safe.
How bad was the bullying?
Really bad. Really, really bad. He was coming up into his face telling them he hates them, trying to tell other children, turning other children against my child. In the last instance, actually, he was getting up out of a seat and disrupting the rest of the class, going to the back of the class, asking people if they hate my son. And this is all on paper. It's all been proven to be very factual and true, and he was identified as a bully on 3 different occasions.
Is he still in the school?
He's still in the class, yeah.
What are his parents saying about it?
Well, they're trying to obviously turn it back because my son, it's horrendous, because my son said that to another son in his class. They're trying to turn it back to me and my wife, saying that his rearing and his upbringing must be poor, and we do everything to protect their children. We give them a really good life, a really good job. We give them anything they want. But they try to turn it back on me and my wife.
Can you see it in his face that he's going through?
No, he's happy now. We've had to engage the services of the local community psychologist, child psychologist in the HSE. But he's a happy kid, At home, but in school he wasn't very happy.
You're dreading next Monday, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, now that was last week on the programme when we spoke to Francis, who's the father of that child. And Francis joins me on the line right now. Francis, welcome again to 98 FM. What is the latest with your little boy and his bullying?
We have met with the school, yesterday, just back after the holidays. They've given us the guarantee that there'll be no further incidents with this particular child. And should there be, then they will take appropriate action against this particular child.
Now, your son was at school yesterday. How did he get on?
He got on quite well, actually. He on Monday morning, when we went to send him to school, he obviously didn't. He was complaining of being sick and stuff, didn't want to go to school. But we obviously persuaded him to go into school, and we got him in, and he came out in decent form, Came out in good form, which is good.
And then yesterday?
Good day as well. So it's just very positive. We're very happy about that. He also came out in reasonably good form.
Now, when you met with the school, obviously they don't want to be hearing of children being bullied. I know you were complaining that they weren't dealing with it effectively. Have you a little bit more confidence after having met them yesterday that this bullying that your child is going through is going to go away?
I do. After yesterday's meeting, I feel a lot more confident with the principal. He's getting me his reassurance that there'll be no more bullying in the school. And we also just as we came back after the holidays, we met with the HSE child psychologist, who was very good as well, who actually verified that in no way, shape or form is in that kind of mindset, that he's a good kid, and he's kind of a very upbeat character, but he is she could see he was upset about what was going on in the school, so but she's reassured us that she's no concerns.
All right. Well, we're going to. That's great news for starters. That he had 2 good days at school. You're happy that the schools seem to be dealing with it effectively now. But we're going to keep in touch with you over the next couple of weeks to make sure there isn't a reoccurrence of this, because it's something that I know many parents who've coped with a child being bullied. It's one of the most awful things for a parent to have to look on and witness.
Yeah, I have no doubt this will probably happen again. I don't like saying that, but it's happened 3 times already with this said child who said it wouldn't happen again. So if it happens again, I've told the school I'm going to come down like a ton of bricks with legal action.
All right, as I said, we're going to keep in touch with you over the next couple of weeks, and hopefully your little boy will be able to settle into school without any rubbish from other students, and I wish him well, and I wish you well. Thanks, Francis, for talking to us.
Thanks for coming back to us. Take care.
All right, thanks, Francis. Now, Mark, you're upset listening to this because of a similar thing in your family.
Yeah, with my son, it's been going on since about 6th class, and it's continued on now into 4th year.
With the same children picking on him, or
yeah, same children.
Right. Okay. So it's moved into your.
And it's moved into bullying, even on the Xbox and the whole lot as well.
Really? So
yeah,
it's bad enough that I can relate to this because I was badly bullied at school when I was in secondary school, and the only thing was I was able to leave it behind me when I got home. Your son has to put up with it even when he goes on his Xbox.
Yeah, like it's like a mental bullying thing. Like there was an incident there 2 weeks ago, and I actually happened to be listening into the whole conversation. And when I piped up on the Xbox, the whole conversation went off.
And I believe that reading your message that you just sent in to us,
there was a thought of a
threat of a gun.
Yeah, I'll get a gun and go around you and all of it.
Calling your wife all sorts of names.
Who are in a tramp, yeah, and a slut, and everything else, yeah. This is a young man. Now, my son, he's as polite as anything. Anyone who knows my family will tell you, he's real kind, he helps you out. But
God love him now. I have to say, and like I said a second ago, I went through it myself at school, and it's a horrible, horrible thing to go through. And what have your child's school done about this? Nothing. And I assume you've been on to the school?
3 times I've been onto the school. We told him before he went into the school that he was having troubles, and we were promised that he'd be kept away.
Unbelievable.
Every class together.
And you just can't get away from this fella. So the conversation that you heard on the Xbox, what was this young fella saying?
It was just there was an argument in school, and it was brought home, and then it was something stupid about, you said this about this person, and then the person who he had made the story up about got on to my son, and then the next person got on to my son and was like, what are you slagging him for, and what are you doing this for, and what are you doing that for? So there's 4 or 5 of them ganging up on one, and my son never said that.
So what are you going to do?
Well, the school were told the last time that if...
How long ago was the last time?
They were told December.
Right. So he's back to school now. Has anything happened this week?
This is like that other lad. He was... Yeah, again, as I'm saying, this incident I'm going to tell you about only happened yesterday. He's only back a day, like.
And what happened
already? There's something coming up in the school, and it's like, your parents better not be at this and all that, and my parents are going to do this, and you better not watch this, and someone's going to go missing and all that crap. And trust me, the school are going to find out today. I've been the nice father, you deal with it. Yeah, go ahead, you can deal with it. Now it's me going to deal with it.
Well, you heard in what way? What do you mean by that?
No, in my way, I'm going to deal with it, Jeremy. I'm a quiet lad. Trust me, I'm a quiet lad. But just when you go near me kids, or there's some anyone going near anyone's kids, bullies, I swear to God, they're disgusting people there. And I'm going to deal with it now. I'm going to go in and tell the school that they had the last warning with it. I warned the school before that they didn't do it. I take legal action and go to the police. Now,
and you are going to do that, are you?
100%.
I mean, the mention of even a vague threat of a gun is enough for you to be going to the guards.
Well, you're saying it's 12-year-old, nothing's going to happen to a whole lot. But then when you're hearing this now, and then you're hearing more about this, and then you hear them more, Like, my son is afraid to say anything. And, like, he's like that other lad's son as well. He's making himself sick. Like, we had our son over in the hospital 3 or 4 times last year because he said he kept having these stomach problems. There was nothing wrong with him. He just didn't want to go to school because what was happening.
And you can't blame him.
Oh, no, come here, listen, absolutely not. And as I said to any parent whose child is showing sign of they're sick all the time, or they're gone quiet, or they're after changing, just sit them down and have a conversation with them. Tell them nothing's going to happen. Tell them not to be afraid.
I know, but it's in a lot of cases, and I know when I was a young fella, I never even told anybody. At least you have the knowledge, and you can do something about it. So, what is your plan today? What are you doing today?
Well, it's choice. I go into the school. Either the child is removed from the school, or I get removed from the school from the authorities. It's as simple as that. Or I go further with lawsuit against the parent and against the school. And
as you heard from Francis, that other parent, a couple of minutes ago, that's his next course of action. If it happens again, he is going to take legal action against the school.
Francis, I hope he's still listening. Tell him not to wait. Tell him why wait till something else happens more serious. Like, my son's going away with these lads in April with the school.
On a school trip?
Oh, well, we're thinking about pulling them now because it's constantly going on. Because we can do something when we're here. What happens if it happens when they're away?
There's very little you can do, yeah.
It's swear to God, anyone who's a bully out there, and you'll notice in later life, because they're bullies to women and they're bullies to children and they're bullies to everything else, they're nothing but scumbags. There's no reason for kids to be bullied these days. There's no reason why kids can't go in and just enjoy school, enjoy having fun outside, and enjoy playing. Why bully someone? It doesn't make you a hard man. It doesn't make you a big man. It makes you nothing but an absolute arsehole.
You're preaching to the choir here. I couldn't agree with you more. And that applies not only in school, that applies in the workplace. In fact, we were only talking in the office earlier on about workplace bullying and how widespread that is. And they're the same idiots that did it when they were at school.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's not that. And you know, the thing about it is that, and Francis is right as well. I don't know, like he was saying that the other parents are blaming on their upbringing. Kids see at home. I don't care. It's not something a kid just decides to wake up and say, "Oh, I'm going to be a bully." If they see at home the parents arguing, or the father being mean to their mom, or the mom being mean to the dad, they're taking it on. If they're not being shown love around like that, then they take that on, and then they take it out on other people because they see other people being happy. Bullies are bullies who want to make happy people sad. That's why I was brought up. Like they're not happy with other people being happy because they're sad, so they're going to make them what they are. It's just
all right, look, just like I did with Francis, I wish you well, Mark. I hope you get that sorted out.
Well, trust me,
you've every intentions of.
I'll text you in tomorrow morning and let you know exactly.
Do please, yeah. All right, good to talk to you, Mark. Thanks very much indeed. All right, and just one final message on this whole bullying subject. A friend of mine's kid was bullied in school. He went through the right channels, brought it to the attention of the school. They didn't want to know. Had a meeting with the parents. They didn't deal with it. One day, his son came home with a black eye. He went around to the parents again, nice and calm, and told the father it has to stop. If he comes home again distressed, I'm going to start bullying you. It still didn't do the trick. His son came home after being bullied again. He went around to the father and battered him black and blue. From that day on, the bullying stopped. Now, I'm not in any way condoning battering people black and blue, but I can understand how parents get so frustrated that their kids come home from school so sad that they feel suicidal. It's not the way it's meant to be. And maybe this threat of legal action is what needs to happen to make schools deal with it, to throw the bullies out of the school. And if you have to threaten legal action, then so be it. Anyway, we'll keep on top of both of those stories over the next while. Now, on the way after the break, independent TD Michael Healy-Rae has called on the government to supply every household around the country with the same breathalyser that Gardaí use. He was appearing on RT television the other night and he said he believed everyone should be able to breathalyse themselves to make sure they are not over the limit the morning after consuming alcohol. And I have a question for you. Should the state provide free breathalysers to every household so that we all know the day after, the night before, you blow into it and you go, oh no, I can't drive the car now. Sorry kids, you'll have to make your own way to football. Answer this simple question. Should the state provide breathalysers for everybody, for every household in the country? Text yes or no to 0877 98 98 98. Text yes or no to 0877 98 98 98. We'll take your calls on that in just a moment.
98 FM's Dublin Talks.
With Des Kelly Interiors. Huge January sale. Now on in all departments.
98 FM.
Independent TD Michael Healy-Rae has called on the government to supply every household in the country with the same breathalyser devices that are used by Gardaí. He was appearing on RTE's Claire Byrne Live the other night and said he believed everyone should be able to breathalyse themselves to make sure that they're not over the limit the morning after consuming alcohol. And I want to hear from you on this on 6797 981. You can text or WhatsApp the programme 0877 98 98 98. Do you have one? Do you use it? I'd love to talk to you if you do have one and how often you actually use it. Here's what Michael Healy-Rae had to say on Claire Byrne's show the other night.
I think that what should be happening is the guards, the units that they use, people should actually have access to the exact same equipment so that they can test themselves, because people are now terrified to move in the mornings. This is a new thing, and you're dead right, Claire. At the beginning of the programme you said that it has been the main topic of conversation over Christmas. Why are the pubs so quiet? Why weren't people going out at night? Because they were terrified of everybody. People can't stay inside in bed in the morning. They have to get up. They have to go, whether it's to work, whether it's seeing after family, taking kids to sports activities. They have to be on the move. And the people are terrified. And I think that there should be easy access to the exact same, because, God damn it, it is not a criminal offence to drink. It is now a criminal offence to drive with a certain amount of alcohol in your system. Of course, we accept the law. We have to abide by the law. But at the same time, we don't want to demonise people for going out and socialising and doing the right thing, getting a taxi, getting a family member to drive them home. But they are bagging people going to mass in the morning. They are bagging people going to work in the morning. It should be nearly sent to every house, that every house in the country would be given the device that the guards are using, so that people will be able to breathalyse themselves.
Okay, so there you are. That's Michael Healy-Rae on television the other night, saying that every home in the country should be sent a breathalyser paid for by the state, so that we all know where we stand. Now, do you think that that is a good idea? Text or WhatsApp me right now to 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. Just text the word yes or no to that number. And the question again is, should the state provide every household in the country with a breathalyser, so that we all know where we stand? And what Michael Healy-Rae is talking about is the concern that the next day that people have to go about their business, and if we all had a breathalyser, then we'd know whether or not we're over the limit the next day or not. Text yes or no to 0877 98 98 98. Should the state provide every household in the country with a breathalyser, or is that just a ridiculous idea? Danielle, you're on Dublin's 98 FM. Hi, Danielle.
Hiya, how are you?
Well, Danielle, should the state pay for every household to have a breathalyser?
Well, I believe they changed the law. Everybody alarmed about it. Now, supposedly it was the worst time to drive was the night, obviously, you have drink, which I totally agree with. Mm-hmm. And now it's the worst time to drive is the day after.
Apparently, yes.
Well, that's what the ads say.
Yes, I know it is. And you know, it takes an hour for your body to get rid of a unit of alcohol. So if you had 12 drinks or 12 standard drinks, that's 12 hours. So if you got home at 2 a.m, then you shouldn't drive until at least 2 the following afternoon.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, how do people know? If you're enforcing the law, then it's not up to all of us to go out and buy one. If you want that, like, I'm not saying it would stop people. There's no way like that. They could still open the door and get into the car if they want to, you know. But at the same time, like, say I had drinks tonight and got into the car the next day. How do I measure it? How do I know? I don't.
No. Okay, so you think that the state should be providing every household with one, so that if mammy or daddy or a 22-year-old will all know the next day,
Yeah, well, and I do agree with him with the same one, because you get different ones and they're not the same. Look, at the end of the day, yeah, it's going to cost the taxpayer, it's going to cost the government, blah, blah, blah. But they keep bringing in the rules that we have to abide by, like you said, like the way the learners have to have their full. Like, I'm 32, I didn't have the stand where you had to do your lessons. I just had the theory test and you were off you go. I've never been in a crash. I've been driving since I'm 18. So I know, God, I feel sorry for any of the families involved in these horrible crashes, whether it was a learner or a full licensed driver, a drink driver, sober driver. Every accident is an accident. The one that is you're taking into your own hands is when you have alcohol in your system. As a learner, I think it's ridiculous as well. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm a fully licensed driver. God forbid, I could crash and kill someone. Just because I'm a fully licensed driver or a learner driver doesn't make a difference.
No, you agree.
Do you know what I mean? They're bringing in all these rules to make more money, but then not helping people. Just want people off the roads is what I think, because all I hear on the news, which is 98 FM news, is this road is blocked and that road is blocked. You know, they don't want many cars on the road, is what I think, and they just want to rack up all the fines and just keep going making money that way. Like,
okay, so in return, you believe with these with the new drink drive laws, well, it's not even that they're new drink drive laws, they're the same laws, it's just that the penalties are different. You believe that every house should be provided with a breathalyser, so that anybody the next day particularly thinking of getting into a car breathalyse themselves before they walk out the front door.
Well, like, yeah, but, you know, like I said, it's not going to stop people. It can't physically stop people getting into the car, but it gives them an indication. And, like, I know that if I took a breathalyser and I was over, I'm not going to get into the car with my kids.
No, especially if it's flashing red, there's not a chance. No, exactly.
There's not a hope.
All right,
then you could turn around to someone else and say, can you drive me? You know, if they were sober.
Yes, exactly,
have to be somewhere.
Stay there for 1 second. Karen, you're thinking of getting one because of today's conversation.
Yeah, I think I have to. I mean, I'm 21 myself, but obviously I go out at the weekend and me and my friends will always share a taxi home, or we'll have a lift, or a bartender from some pubs might drop us home. But the thought that I'll pay for a lift home and I go home, I go to bed, and the next morning I might even be able to drive to the shop. I don't know myself if I'm over, and I'm after already organising my lift home, paying for whatever taxi, and you're still in danger. It's a bit ridiculous. So I feel like I don't have a choice. I don't know if I'm safe or not to drive.
And the reality of it is that the next day you might feel as fresh as a daisy, but you could still very well be over the limit, and you could risk losing your licence for 3 months or 2 years or longer.
But you can put in how many drinks you've had on the website, and it'll tell you how long to stay off the road. But if you actually put in, let's say, a normal person's night out, it could tell you to stay off the road till 9 o'clock the next day, that night, like. So, judging by the way they measure the drink.
Yes, and by how much your body breaks down the alcohol over a period of time. Yeah, actually, that'd be very handy. You blow into it, and it tells you don't drive for another 4 hours or whatever. Yeah, and at least you'd have an indication then.
Yeah,
and that's assuming you don't have any more drink in the meantime. Yeah. Okay, so do you think you're thinking of getting one? Do you think the state should provide them?
Definitely. I mean, I understand, obviously, nobody should be drinking and driving. But, you know, there was never harm going out for 1 or 2 drinks, but now you have one and you're absolutely terrified. I mean, you should know yourself, you're okay kind of to have 1 drink and drive, but the measurements, like, maybe you might be a tiny bit over, but you don't even know yourself. And obviously it affects people different ways. Some people's body weight like that can show more or less. And I just think it's terrible, especially on country pubs. I just think it's absolutely ridiculous.
What, that we have strict drink drive laws?
No, that you can't even drive the next day. You don't know. You know what I mean? You go out and people are terrified to drive the next day. You don't have a clue what you're over, you're under. You don't know, because none of us really know ourselves the next day. It's not something really we ever thought about until now. That the next day at 3 o'clock the next day you could still be over.
Yeah, and you absolutely could with how low the limits are.
And then it's stopping people going out on a Saturday night, and, you know, then pubs are suffering from that.
A lot of you, I know, and I know it was something you were asking as well, Karen. A lot of people have been in touch with us asking where can you buy these breathalysers. Well, a simple Google search will find them for you. But I've one website here, Halfords. You know Halfords, the motoring store. They sell them, and they range in price from €48. There's another one for €72, and then the top of the range one is €180. Now I don't know what you get extra for the €180. Maybe it drives the car for you, but.
I'm not sure, but I thought I heard someone who got one off the Road Safety Authority website. I thought it was only maybe 14 or something, but I think it was a disposable one. I don't think you could use it again. Yes,
you can get them in pharmacies. They have kind of, I've seen these, they have kind of crystal things in them, and if they turn red, then you're not to drive. It wouldn't be highly accurate now, it has to be said, but it's an indication as to whether or not you're still over the limit the next day.
Yeah.
And it does happen. I know, for example, I was at a thing a couple of months ago, and a load of us tried them the next day, and I'm talking like after midday, maybe 1 o'clock, and about half the people that were present were over the limit.
Really?
At 1 o'clock the next day. Yeah, that's the God's honest truth. Now, that's only on one of these throwaway ones, but still, it's on many of them, they lit up red, which is basically telling you not to drive.
And that's the thing. You'll not drive then, but like that, you wouldn't have. You probably would think at 1 o'clock you're okay. You know, you wouldn't know, and it's not like that. There's no way to tell you exactly how long it will take for you to be okay.
Okay, stay there for 1 second, because, Steve, you don't believe that taxpayers' money should be used to make us safer on the roads?
Well, I didn't say it that way now, Adrian. You're mixing me words there. What I said was, it's absolutely, there's a huge problem with after next morning drinking, and people should be responsible themselves, especially with the prices you've just given out there. For €48, the sake of you getting into a car the next morning and losing something that's so precious to you, and you can't get jobs, you can't get insurance, it's unbelievable. People should do it themselves. They shouldn't be expecting the likes of myself that doesn't drink to pay for it.
But here's the thing. We're all about road safety. An awful lot of money is spent on road safety. An awful lot of money is spent on advertising and everything else around road safety. This is another aspect of road safety, because, like you heard Karen saying, if you're a drinker and you go out the night before, you can feel brand new the next day and discover that you're still over the limit.
Yeah, I understand all that, but go out and get one yourself. Be responsible. Why do you expect other people to sort your stuff out? Go out and do it yourself. Go out and buy one.
Well, Michael Healy-Rae's argument was that in order to keep our roads safer, people need to know, and the state should, as part of its road safety budget, provide one to every house. Simple.
Well, if Michael Healy-Rae wants them given out, he should give them out as a publican. They should give them out with the money they make.
All right, let me just squeeze in 1 or 2 more calls. Laura, you're on 98 FM. You're agreeing with what Stephen is saying, that buy your own, basically.
Hi, yeah, absolutely. I have my own. I got it for €6 on eBay.
Really? €6?
That's it, yeah.
And is it an electronic job?
I got it in a store in Limerick, and it's battery operated. You have a mouthpiece that you just clean, and also you can replace then for hygiene reasons. You're supposed to replace regularly enough. It just says in the manual.
And sorry, €6?
€6 perfect. I got one for my dad over Christmas as well. So.
And are they accurate?
Yeah, well, absolutely. Like we tested it on my dad. He had 3 drinks, and whatever the calculation was added up pretty exactly the same that the Drink Aware website says. And
that he was over the limit after his 3 drinks. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely he was.
And what was the website you got that on?
Well, like drinkaware.ie does the calculations for your blood alcohol levels.
Yeah.
eBay just for the breathalyzer.
The breathalyzer itself. Okay, so you have one in the house now.
Exactly. For the morning after, I was scared as well, like everyone else.
And I think a lot of people are, and I do know it was a topic of conversation over the Christmas period with a lot of families concerned about it. Okay, one last call. Stephen, you've an idea, which is what?
Well, basically, you could get them fitted within the engine, that you blow into them, and the engine will not start if you're over the limit. They have this in America. And you can get them enforced that in 10 years, if it's not fitted, your car won't pass the NCT either. And hopefully the insurance companies could actually say with them to be a discount on
well, I know in the States, if you get done for drink driving, when you're being allowed back on the road again, you have to have one of these devices installed in your car. Yeah,
exactly.
And you have to blow into it before you can drive. Mind you,
exactly.
I have to say, Stephen, people can cheat that, in that you could get somebody who's sober to blow into the thing.
Yeah, you can do, but if you're pulled over, there has to be a law saying, right then, just straight away off the road. Because you're cheating the insurance companies as well.
In fact, I'm just reading here that in-car breathalysers have reduced deaths on the roads in the States. So maybe that is the way we need to go.
I think so. Exactly. And if the insurance company actually jump on board and offer a discount with the insurance because they're sky high every year for everyone, a lot of people go for it. And it'll be bang on, obviously, the reading of it. It'll be clear that you're not over the limit because the engine is started and you have to drive away. Obviously, you still will have to go through checkpoints, and the guards will have to do an odd spot check to make sure the person that's driving is doing the right thing with the insurance companies.
As I said, and this study has confirmed that in-car breathalyzers reduce drunk under the influence deaths in the States. And as I said, when you get done for drink driving in the States, in order to get back on the road, you have to have one of these installed into your car, at your cost, by the way. And after, you can't start the ignition unless you have a clear breath test. Maybe all cars should have that. Anyway, you're listening to 98 FM's Dublin Talks. This is Adrian Kennedy. On the way after the break, hysterics at a car wash in South Dublin. Wait till you hear this story.
98 FM's Dublin Talks
with Des Kelly Interiors. Huge January sale now on in all departments.
98 FM.
What little thing is your child afraid of? Something that will cause them no harm, really, but that they're absolutely terrified of. I have a reason for asking you that question, because I have a story for you in a second, but I'd love you to text or WhatsApp us right now on 0877 98 98 98. What little thing is your child afraid of, or was your child afraid of? Text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98, because I want to set a scene for you, and a scene that Jeremy is going to explain to us about something that happened to him just this week.
Don't make me relive the horror.
Well, it wasn't a horror for you.
No, it wasn't a horror for me, but for my firstborn, took a trip to the car wash for the first time on Saturday. Now, I had forgotten that he had never been to a car wash before, and we were driving along the N11 road past Delorgan, and I said to him, Luke, we have to pull in here for a moment and have to get the car washed. And he says, okay, Daddy, okay. And I thought,
okay, so you drive up to the car wash.
Put the
token in.
I put the token in, and he's sitting in the back of the car. Picture this, he's in the back of the car, and the car wash starts. And at first everything's okay, it's just spraying the water on the car. Then hysterics kick in. Daddy, what's happening? Daddy, the brushes, the windscreen's gonna crack, the windscreen. Daddy, get me out. So picture this, my son, 4 years of age, in the back of the car having absolute shit fit, hysterics, screaming at me to stop the car wash. I'm shouting back at him, Luke, I can't stop the car wash. There's nothing I can do. Daddy, stop the car wash, I want to get out. So I start beeping the horn to try and let the forecourt know that there's an emergency here. Beeping the horn.
And then it all calmed down. And it was all lovely and quiet.
No, then the brushes went to the back of the car where he was sitting.
That's exactly what's happening
here. That's what happened. The brushes went over the car.
Yeah,
went to the back
of the car.
And I said, Luke, don't worry.
And now they're on the way back.
And they came back, and he goes mad. So I'm trying to calm him down and sedate him. Not literally sedate him. And I'm singing, picture this, so we're in the car. I'm singing, okay, Luke, let's have a sing-song. The wheels on the bus go round and... No, Daddy, I don't want to sing. Luke, sing the bloody song. The wheels on the bus go round. Daddy, we're going to be squashed. No, we're not. Round and round, round and round. It was, can I just say, to those of you who have never put your kid into a car wash, don't do it. It was the most... And I wouldn't mind, I went for the bloody premium wash, which lasted
forever.
4 minutes. Never go for the premium wash. It was the worst 4 minutes of my life.
Okay, so I want to hear from you about what is the one little thing that your child is terrified of, even though it's not going to actually cause them any harm. No harm was going to come to little Luke in the car wash.
Well, I apologise to the forecourt attendants in the garage on the N11 motorway because you must have thought that someone was dying in the car, but we're all okay. Actually, Adrian, because we were looking up this, do you know what the top 3 things for kids to be afraid of are?
Go on.
Men with beards is one.
Really?
I was terrified of men with beards when I was a kid. Anybody that had a beard.
Yeah, but every second man has a beard now.
Hipsters.
Yeah.
I know they're a thing of the past now. Balloons. See, many kids are terrified.
Yeah, no, I used to be afraid of balloons. I was always afraid when I was playing with them they were going to burst in my face. No, I was.
Why, did a balloon ever burst in?
It must have at some stage.
Okay, clowns.
Yeah.
Oh, and another one, and this is one I can relate to as well, my young fella. The toilet on an aeroplane. You know how aggressive it is. But no, it's the delay. You press the button and you think nothing's going to happen. You go to the toilet and then suddenly nothing worse.
Text or WhatsApp us 0877 98 98 98. What little thing is your child afraid of? Something that's not going to cause them actual harm. Tammy, you're on 98 FM. Hiya, Tammy.
Hiya.
Now, Tammy, what thing is your child afraid of? Not making noise, anyway.
My little girl is terrified of flies.
Of flies?
Yeah.
Just your average household fly?
Yeah, it's just like the normal, like, stork fly, you know.
Really?
Yeah, terrifies her.
And, I mean, it's not like we can get rid of flies. Well, you can with the spray and all that, but they're part of our everyday life.
Yeah, and she has to deal with them.
So how old is she?
She's 2.
She's 2. And if she sees a fly, she's absolutely terrified of it.
Oh, she'll come in running, just screaming.
Now, we're not talking about wasps or bees or anything, just a fly.
Yeah, just your normal fly that just flies around.
I don't think there's any flies at this time of year, though. Are there? Are flies all dead, Adrian?
At this time of the year, yeah, probably.
You wouldn't get a fly in
They'd be few and far between.
Yeah, where did they go?
I think they just die off, do they? I don't know.
And then I'll just reproduce again.
I don't know. I'm not a biologist. I don't know.
Where do flies go in the winter?
I break this.
Yeah, they go
are they all in Lanzarote on a package holiday? Like, where are they? Where are the bloody flies?
I don't know. Anyway, afraid of flies. Thanks, Tammy. What little thing is your child afraid of? Text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98. My little fella was exactly the same. Next time I gave him some ice pops and he loved the car wash. So that's the solution. When you go in and buy your token in the car wash, bring out an ice pop, say, here, shove that in your gob there, Luke, and we'll be grand. Carol, you're on 98 FM. Hiya, Carol.
Hi, Adrian.
Carol, you can feel the pain of the car wash.
I can. I know exactly how he feels. Because
really?
I remember the first time I was in one. I was about 6, and I was exactly like poor little Luke. And I've never been in one since. But do you know what I think it could be too? I suffer with claustrophobia. And I think it's just that feeling that you just can't get out of the car. You know, it's just... and you're surrounded by these brushes bashing against the car. And that's the way I feel. That could be the problem.
Okay, so you could feel the pain of the car wash. So hearing the car wash sound effects and all, it's like, oh, I'm back there again.
Exactly. I'd never go into one. Never. I'd rather wash the car myself or use
rather than go into one.
Well, Carol, let me help you with this, okay? With your fear. Here we go. You ready, Carol?
Go ahead. I'm waiting, Jeremy.
Carol.
Yes.
The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round.
Dave, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Dave?
All right, folks.
Dave, what is the one thing your son is terrified of?
Porcelain dolls, but more importantly, ventriloquist dummies. We were trying to watch all episodes of Goosebumps before, and there's one called Slappy on it, and you'd swear we were after putting on The Exorcist.
Really?
He lost his life.
Yeah, now, I have to say, ventriloquist dummies, I was never comfortable with either, because as a kid, I didn't know if they were real.
So when would you ever come in contact with a ventriloquist dummy, Adrian? That's the most random thing ever.
What's his name? The place that closed down in Dunleary, what's it called? Lambert Purple Theatre, as a kid. Terrified me.
Okay.
Terrified of there's Eugene
Mr.
Lambert, and there's Judge, and Judge is talking. How is this happening? It used to scare the living daylights out of me. It did, I have to be honest.
No, the dolls, the porcelain dolls themselves are pretty creepy to look at anyway.
Yeah, a friend of mine has a collection of them, and they're
no way.
Yeah, she's a collection of them, and they're really freakily.
Why does she keep porcelain dolls?
Yeah, it's like if you move around the room, it feels like the eyes are following
it. It does. Yeah, and she's like.
But that's the Mona Lisa, lads. That's not the porcelain doll.
But porcelain dolls look freakishly real. That's the problem with them.
I don't think you can get porcelain dolls anymore, Dave.
Of course you can. My friend has a collection of them. Yeah, of course you can.
Yeah. Go to any antique shop, you'd find them.
Yeah.
Is that not from like the turn of the century?
It's actually it's a collectible item now, and like I said, my friend has her whole sitting room done up with them,
and
millions of them.
This woman,
they're everywhere.
Okay, I get the point.
Yeah.
This woman, why?
Why do people collect anything?
No, but porcelain dolls. She's a grown woman.
It's just her thing. Jackie.
Yes.
Jackie, your daughter is also terrified of flies.
Terrified. Absolutely
Okay. Now
terrified.
she's 12.
She'll be 12 on Friday, actually, yeah.
Okay, I want to find out how that terror affects her, and I'll come back to you straight after the break. Stay there. Live and exclusive to Dublin's 98 FM, Monday through Friday between 10 and midday. This is Adrian Kennedy. You're with 98 FM's Dublin Talks. And Trish is here with Wednesday's top headlines.
Thanks, Adrian. There are calls for the Transport Minister to ensure Dublin airport's prepared for drone sightings. A no drone zone is in operation, but Senator Neil Richmond wants more reassurances. It's after the departure runway at Heathrow Airport was temporarily closed yesterday evening over a drone. A post-mortem's due to be carried out on the body of a woman found in County Louth yesterday. 57-year-old Elsby Petrowska suffered a violent death at her home in RD. A 32-year-old man was arrested. Gardaí say they're not looking for anyone else in connection with the investigation. 2 Irishmen have been remanded in custody in Sydney, charged with the murder of a 66-year-old man. The 2 men in their 20s from Donegal were refused bail and are due in court in March. And Donald Trump says the US-Mexican border wall issue is a humanitarian crisis of the heart and soul. The president wants nearly $6 billion to pay for it, but the Democrats aren't budging. And now up to date on 98.
98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
Loads of adults, this is bizarre actually, I never thought this conversation was going to go this way. Lots of adults have been in contact with us about fear of car washes. Now, it never bothered me. I've never been affected at all by car washes. I like to go into a car wash. And here, bizarrely, we're after having a whole conversation about car washes, yeah, and about the young fella being terrified. And bizarrely, during that ad break, this ad came on.
This is the sound of you cutting out your €5 Max Wash car wash voucher from the Irish Independent or the Sunday Independent. And this is the sound of your car being treated to that Max Wash at your local Max Hall.
There you go. Who expected that? I certainly didn't expect that. That ad during the ad break there, that's just... do they call that product placement? Yeah, that's what they call it. Anyway, sorry, Jeremy, it's called what? Autoplenophobia is a genuine fear of car washes. Is there anybody else, an adult now, who is afraid of car washes? And we're also talking about the little things that your child is afraid of, like Dave, who said, my 8-year-old is afraid of the gingerbread man in Shrek. Jackie, your daughter of 12 is afraid of flies. How does she cope with that when there's loads of flies around?
It's literally, she just screams. She goes running. I hate the summertime when it comes in. Like, I love my windows open in the summer, and if she sees a fly, she just freaks out. I'm trying to tell her, I keep on saying that it's not going to touch you, it's not going to hurt you, but she just goes off the walls, like, you know, it's just that I'm hoping.
And I assume she knows they're not going to harm her. They're not going to. They can't. I mean, I can understand the fear of bees or wasps or whatever, because they can harm you. But a fly is harmless.
It's harmless, yeah. And I keep on saying that to her. It's harmless. It's not going to touch you. But I think it's sort of, if it flies near her, she might think that it's a wasp or a bee or something like that. But it's just, I don't know. I'm strongly thinking about seeing this year, if it happens again this year, trying to get her some sort of help. You know what I mean? at this stage, I nearly go through hypnosis, you know what I mean, to try and get her over the phobia. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine what a phobia of flies is like. I wouldn't be a big fan like of daddy long legs and stuff like that, but your average common or garden fly has never bothered me. No, to be honest.
She's no problems with spiders. She's no problem, you know, snails or anything like that. It's just flies and bees and wasps, but more flies.
And would you be freaked out? You know, for example, the ads on the telly for places like the Sudan, you see a poor child there who's starving and there's flies all over their face.
Yeah, she'd say something about it, all right, but it wouldn't. I don't think it'd really bother her because it's not around her.
Right, but once it's around her, it freaks her out.
Totally freaks her out.
Sounds like
I thought, like, as she got older, it would have, you know, she would have grown out of it. It's happened since she was about 3 or 4. It's been going on every year since 3 or 4.
And getting worse by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
Well, not getting any better.
Well, it's not getting any better. As I say, I'm dreading the summer. I'm absolutely dreading it.
Oh, right, okay. All right, thank you. Michael, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Michael?
How are you, Adrian? How are you getting on there?
Michael, your son used to be afraid of?
Of Patchy the Pirate from SpongeBob SquarePants.
Was never a fan of him myself now, I have to say.
No, we used to, as I said, like Jeremy was saying about his son, the car wash.
Yeah.
He'd go ballistic. He'd be watching an episode of SpongeBob. You know the way sometimes it'd come back to Patchy. And if that came on, no matter what he was doing, he'd get up, run out of the room, scream the house down. Oh, it was comical. Well, you know, it wasn't for him, but the odd time me and his big brother, we used to record special episodes of SpongeBob, knowing that Patchy'd come on, and we'd be sitting there waiting. And of course, Patchy come on, Ryan to jump up out of the room, stuff everywhere. It was very funny now. But, he used to hate it.
He didn't see the funny side of it.
Oh, he didn't see the funny side. And we remind him of it every so often. Now he's 10 now, you know, and he goes mad when you bring it up. But he wasn't. I'll tell you now, there was days when Patchy used to come on, all hell used to break loose.
Brilliant, I love it. Thank you, Michael. Simon, what is your daughter afraid of?
The moon crashing into the earth.
Afraid of the moon crashing into the earth?
Yeah.
Now, what age is your child? 16?
No, she's nearly 3.
And how does a 3-year-old even grasp that?
It's out there, and she's afraid of it coming in and getting her.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the maddest thing ever.
That's what she's afraid of. And she'll stand. I say afraid of it. She'll stand looking out the window at the moon, amazed by it, but she's afraid of it coming in and getting her. Like.
Really?
Yeah, it's weird. And the other one is the gurgle monster that lives in the drain in the bath, which is another one.
I was always a little bit, you know, the way when you pull the plug out and it starts making a whirlpool as it's going down the plug hole. I used to be afraid of that now, I'll be honest.
No, it's not completely unstand. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, exactly. It's a weird. It is. All right, good man. Thank you, Simon. Dave, oh yeah, sorry, I was reading out your text a minute ago. You're young fella terrified of the gingerbread man in Shrek.
Yeah, Adrian. Yeah, he's terrified of the gingerbread man. Yeah.
Now, I tell you what I didn't like, and I don't like about the gingerbread man is his squeaky voice.
Yeah. Do you remember at the end of it was at the end of one of them anyway, where the Shrek had to break into the castle and the cake man made the big huge one?
Yes.
That one kind of started it all off, I think. But now he won't actually sit down and he won't watch Shrek now anymore because even the bit there's a bit in where Farquaad is kind of torturing him and he's kind of breaking little bits of his legs off.
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, and it is. I have to say, the one thing that always freaked me out about the gingerbread man is his voice. Hang on, I think I have him on the line here. This is from Shrek. This Shrek is 18 years old.
Run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man.
Farquaad talking to the
You're a monster. I'm not the monster here. You are. You and the rest of that fairy tale trash poisoning my perfect world. Now tell me, where are the others? Eat me! I've tried to be fair to you creatures. Now my patience has reached its end. Tell me, or I'll... No, not the buttons! Not my gumdrop buttons! All right.
Brilliant. I hear I'm shocked, actually. Sometimes after... You know the way you look at things and you go, my God... 2001 that was made in.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
That is unbelievable. That's 18 years ago.
Yeah.
Scary. All right, Dave, thanks very much indeed. And one last, let's wrap up with where we started this conversation with Siraj on car washes. Hello, Siraj.
How you doing, Jerry?
Your son is the exact opposite.
Yeah, he's obsessed with car washes. Absolutely loves them. I have to go at least once a day. If not, sit down in the car wash and watch the cars go through for over an hour.
Sorry, hang on. You hardly go for a car wash once a day.
Yeah, well, he's obsessed, so he's autistic and he likes car washes, he likes the movement of the brushes, so as a treat we go once a day. And sometimes we just go and watch the car washes go through, maybe 5 or 6.
Okay, so you don't get the car washed every single day?
I'd say probably 5 times a week.
Oh, really? So he just loves... What does he love about it?
He loves the noise, he loves the blower going around, he loves the brushes that turn around, and it's just different colours as well. So each car wash has a different colour. He might say, I want to go to a black car wash, I want to go to a green one, I want to go to a blue one, to a pink one, to a red one.
But he loves them?
He adores them.
All right, we'll put him in touch with Jeremy's young fella and we'll try and get him to start loving the car washes. Good to talk to you, Siraj. Thanks very much indeed.
All the best.
You're listening to 98 FM's Dublin Talks. This is Adrian Kennedy with you until midday today. Our telephone number, as always, is 6797981. You can text or WhatsApp the programme on 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. Now, next on the programme, slightly more seriously, figures released today will really annoy an awful lot of you listening to the show. It's all to do with long-term unemployment and the fact that even though Ireland is years out of a recession and well into recovery mode, there are still a lot of people who can't find work or perhaps simply don't want to. The long-term unemployed, or work-shy, as some people like to call them, the figures are quite startling, believe it or not. A total of, have a listen to this now, a total of 8,633 people have been on the live register for more than 10 years. Now, we're not talking about people in receipt of disability benefit or whatever. We're talking about people on the dole, basically. Job seekers allowance. 8,633 of them have been there for more than 10 years. Not worked a day in over 10 years. Now, of this number, more than 700 people have been on the dole for more than 20 years. I'm baffled by this. 6,407 people have been out of work between 10 and 15 years, and another 1,500 between 15 and 20 years. Fianna Fáil spokesperson on social protection, Willie O'D, said it was hard to believe some people could be on the dole for more than 20 years, given the criteria that they must be actively seeking work. Now, the conditions for job seekers payment is that you, as Willie O'D said, must be actively seeking work. You must be capable of work, available for work, genuinely seeking work. And for anybody who's on the dole, I know the pressure from the department is a lot more severe now than it ever used to be in the past. So you have to show that you're making oral or written applications for work, looking for information on the availability of work, taking up reasonable training opportunities. The list goes on about the sort of pressure that is on people to get work. So how in God's name can somebody be on the dole for that length of time? If you're somebody, and I understand during the bad times from kind of 2008 onwards, that some people will have been on the dole for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, up until things started to improve again. So we had a big crash in our country back in 2008. It all went tits up and people lost their jobs left, right and centre. And I understand, somebody who was working in construction who lost their job and no houses are being built. How are you meant to get a job? And it is very difficult. But that's not the case now. We're at a stage where we have nearly full employment here in Ireland. And yet, over 8,500 people haven't worked in well over 10 years. So well over 10 years brings us back to 2006 and 5 and when things were good. I would love to hear from you on 6797 981. You can text or WhatsApp the programme 0877 98 98 98. In some countries, they have a cut-off point where you no longer receive a welfare benefit. For example, in the States, it's only 6 months. In other countries, it's kind of 6 months, a year, although they will allow for longer time given an economic downturn. So, for example, 10 years ago, they would have allowed you to stay on the dole that bit longer. And we want to ask this simple question. These figures out today have renewed calls for a cut-off point for social welfare. If someone hasn't been able to find work for 10 years, should they still be getting welfare? What do you think the cut-off point should be? Hardly 6 months. I mean, really, it's a bit unrealistic to be saying 6 months. Or maybe you believe it should be just 6 months. You get the dole for 6 months and that's it. Or maybe it's a year, or maybe it's 2 years. Where do you think the cut-off point should be? Or maybe you believe that there should not be a cut-off point. Call me right now on 6797 981. You can text or WhatsApp the programme on 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. Where should the cut-off point be in terms of social welfare, in terms of being on the dole? How long should you be allowed to stay on the dole for? Or maybe you're somebody who has been on the dole for quite a length of time. If you have, I'd love to hear from you on 6797 981 and let me know why. How is it that you can be on the dole for, particularly now when we're nearly at full employment, how can you possibly be on the dole today? Call me now, 6797 981. Eddie, you're on Dublin's 98 FM. How are you, Eddie?
Good morning, Adrian.
Eddie, you believe that the cut-off point should be a year?
I'd say so. A year. If you can't get a job in a year, right, there's something wrong with you. Now, I was on this radio station last time about this, and there's people out there, right, and they know the system. They're applying for jobs they have no chance of getting, just so they get an email back or a letter, and they take it up and say, look, I'm trying for a job. And they've absolutely no intention of going for a job. They're just doing it to get longer on the dole. So you give them a year. If you can't get a job, they'll say, right then, if you want to earn your dole, the place is in bits outside, the streets need cleaning. You're only talking about it yesterday, the likes of Ballymun, the north side, certain areas. There's loads of bloody graffiti. I'd say, right, you're going to work for your dole. You're going to go out and you're going to clean up that place there for 8 hours a day. And that's how you're going to get your dole. And they'll soon go, bloody hell, I'm working 40 hours a week for €188. I'd soon be better off working. You know what I mean? And they'll go and get a job. And if they don't want to do it, well, then they don't get it, then they don't. Simple as.
Okay, so after a year, you should be what, made to work for your dole?
Yeah, of course you should. You're getting free money for sitting on your hole. You know what I mean? And I blame the social therapy, the people in the dole offices. I mean, you said there, what was it, 720 years on the dole? I mean, what are these people in these offices saying to these dole heads when they come in? Like, why can't you get a job? 20 years of excuses, and they're letting them away with it.
Okay, I'm sure you'll accept, Eddie, that let's wind the clock back 10 years, 2009. This country was on its knees. We had bailouts and we literally no money. The country was in bits and people were losing their jobs left, right and centre, okay?
Yeah.
You can't expect in those sort of economic circumstances somebody to get another job within a year when there aren't any.
Well, so, like you said, in an economic downturn in other countries, they extended time. But there's people out there, Adrian, you just said it, 10 years and 20 years. Proper, just bleeding the country.
Yeah, 6,000...
Do you know what they're doing? They're just taking from the pot, and not contributing nothing at all. And it's these people that really boil my piss. You know what I mean? If you want your dole, work for it. And if you don't want your dole, if you don't want to work for it, then you get none. No simple.
Okay, so after a year, you would, rather than cut it off, you would make people work a 40-hour week for their €193, whatever it is.
I'd say 8 hours a day. You go out there, you're around, you go out and you go out and pick up litter. And you have to tag in every hour. You know, like a security, you have a certain route and you have to tag in every hour. So they can't take the piss and go home for 8 hours and then come back. You know what I mean? Or if so someone's graffiti, they have a supervisor, and you go, right, that's your job, you're going to paint over that today. You come back 8 hours later, it's not painted. Right, you're Dr. Dave's dough. You know what I mean? And
You would make it that strict?
Yeah. And I'll tell you, most people that get on here now and they'll agree with me. Because people like that just take the piss. You know what I mean? They ruin it for everyone.
All right, stay there for 1 second, if you can, please. Eddie, 6797 981 is our telephone number. You can text or WhatsApp us on 0877 98 98 98. Let's talk to somebody who is long-term unemployed. Katie, you're on 98 FM. Hi, Katie.
Hi, I'm all right.
Katie, unemployed 10 years.
Give or take, yeah. About that time, a bit less, but coming to that soon.
Coming to the 10-year period. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
I mentioned 10 years ago, the country was in a bad way. Lots of people were losing their jobs. It was a very difficult time for us. So you obviously lost your last job then, did you?
Yeah, it was the situation there. Our company went into liquidation, and there was nothing I could do. So it wasn't even me losing a job. The whole company went under. So
okay, and again, that happened to many people in many sectors. That the company they were working for went bankrupt or went liquidation, and all the staff were laid off. Happened to loads of people. Now, that was 10 years ago. Now, in the last 5 years, there's been a dramatic improvement in the country. How come you haven't benefited from that?
Firstly, like I was maybe a few weeks after the company went into liquidation, I had this sort of like quiet down period, or watch TV and lay on your back a bit, thinking, oh, what you're going to do next, because it's a shock, and you need to sort of get over it. And I was actually seeking actively jobs then. Like I sent quite a few CVs until a month later before I actually got into any interviews. And it wasn't such a good time for looking for work anyway at that time. It wasn't that everybody was calling you back. I found out I'm pregnant. So, and then even worse of the current economical situation there, telling your future boss that, hey, I'll be working only for about 6 months and then I'll be going on a maternity leave, wouldn't really boost your,
your chances of getting the job.
Chances of getting a job, and I wouldn't want to lie to my boss. So I quit, I stopped, and I went on a dole, because I figured that would be the best chance. So then I had a little one at home, and then 2 years later I got pregnant again, because I figured if I'm already making a family, then I'll sort of get over, all of them at once, not like dropping them here and there. So I have a 7-year-old at home. And I am now on before that, under 7s are actually I'm a one parent, so I have now two at home, being a one parent family. When they reach 7, you have to go to the job seekers.
Correct.
Which is fine, but me as a single parent with the current rent in Dublin, I'm living in Dublin, with 2 under 10s kids at home. There's no chance, the salary, whatever my salary will be, that I will get the full, pay rent and pay everything else I have to pay.
Okay, so
I lose everything there.
Your youngest child is what age now?
7.
Okay, so now you can no longer claim lone parents allowance. You're back to job seekers. Okay, now. Has that changed in terms of are you under pressure to go for job interviews and everything else?
I'm sort of trying to figure out the best way to go, because you can still I can still work part-time and still claim the job seekers sort of or the family income supplement.
Why not just get a full-time job?
Because I can't. Full-time job, I will lose any help from the government altogether. And I can't feed 3 people, pay all the bills and rent with one person's salary. Rents are up to $1,700 a month right now.
So what you're saying to me is that it's not financially possible for you to go back to work.
Yes, it's not financially possible, at least for me. And there's, like you said, there's not. There are loads of people who have been on dole over 10 years. But it's not like that significant amounts compared to how many people are actually working. Some people maybe, I'm just giving them an idea here, who have lost their job 10 years ago, maybe they're over 60. You know, like barely there in the pension area, but not really there.
Not there
again,
yet, yes.
Again, a boss wouldn't want to hire that person who hasn't worked for like 10 years and then, wait for 2 years or train them again or whatever they need to do. It might be the psychological state as well for the person, who has been that long. Like even me.
Okay, what would you say then? Okay, so your eldest child is now, your youngest child is now 7. You're back on job seekers allowance. How would you feel about having that cut off completely unless you go and get a job?
Well, then I'd be on the street homeless. So I mean, like.
Okay, Eddie, that's what would happen.
What are my options?
Eddie, that's what could happen to you.
This is the problem with this country. We make it better for people to sit at home being dolehead, pumping out kids, because they'd be financially better off. Look at that Margaret Cash one. They worked out that she was getting 51 grand a year. You know what I mean? It's a joke. Don't have kids if you can't afford them. Simple as.
And as a matter of interest, Katie, do you have any financial support for your children?
In the matter of,
in terms of the other parent of your child?
The other parent is not in the picture anymore at all. So no, I wouldn't get that. And the government doesn't even, because they are living abroad, and the government has no process in place to claim from them. If I want to get anything else, I would have to go to that country, to the courts there, paying all the fees myself, like all the legal fees. And by the point of what's getting €20 a week or less, All
right, do me a favour, Katie. Stay on the line there for 1 second because I have to take a quick break. There's a couple of people want to talk to you straight after the break. Our telephone number is 6797 981. Over 8,500 people on the live register haven't worked in over 10 years. So even though our economy has dramatically improved, let's say in the last 5 years, those people are still on the scratcher. I'd love to hear from you if you are one of those people on 6797 981. Quick break, back in a sec.
98 FM's Dublin Talks
with Des Kelly Interiors. Huge January sale now on in all departments.
98 FM.
I often mention to you that if you're in a situation where perhaps you're in work or whatever, and you can't take a call or you can't be on the phone, you might be able to nip off out the door and record a sneaky WhatsApp voice message, just like this.
Guys, is your woman is gas? The government won't pay me to go over and get money out the father of me kids. It's not worth me while going back to work. It's not worth me while money-wise. Get up off your lazy arse and go out and contribute to society instead of take. That's what's wrong with this country. You're better off sitting on the dole, as that man said.
Now, Katie, that's directed at you. Get up off your arse and get out and work rather than take. What do you say to that?
I said already I can't go to work, but I didn't get to the part that I am really contributing to the society. I am in the tidy towns, so I'm picking up litter every week. I am in a charity organisation, actually a board of one of them as secretary, so I am doing my stuff. And regardless of that, whether, I don't know, of course, there's only so many organisations out there, could do that, but some people might not have a car or might not,
some people would argue. Some people would argue excuses.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the life. There's so many. I think of it every day. If you think this is an ideal situation for me, then no, it's not.
Would you like to be out working?
To be in this situation.
Would you like to be out working?
I am currently afraid, but yes, I would love to work because I can't, sitting at home actually, sort of like...
So you're currently afraid? Afraid of what?
A bit of going back to work, but that's not my main point. My main point is, for example, 2 kids under 10s. If I go to work full time, I also need after-school babysitter or pay after school for them. As I said, it is impossible financially, totally impossible. I would lose my medical, which means I'd have to pay all my medical bills myself, or in medical insurance, babysitter, a way to go to work, food, all the expenses.
Katie, I have to tell you, and I do understand a lot of the situation that you're in, but all I'm really hearing are excuses. How do other people do it?
Maybe they have help, or maybe they've found something different. I'm not sure. Maybe they have ideal job just next to the house, that they don't have cost of travel. Maybe they have two parents. You should really, statistically take down if it's possible, to get the number of people who are currently being so long on the dole, to take how many are women, how many are men, what are the age groups. And you can see, I can believe most of them aren't in my age.
All right, stay there for a second, Katie.
They are women, single.
Stay there for 1 second. 6797981 is our telephone number. Richie, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Richie?
Hi, Adrian. How are
Richie,
you?
I'm sure you can understand the trap that some people are in, like Katie as a lone parent, between having two kids and being able to afford to go to work.
No. As you say yourself, all she's made the whole last 10 minutes nearly on the phone, excuse. Oh, well, if the government don't give me this, the government, you're not supposed to be getting anything from the government. Go out, work, just like you, just like your wife, like me, like my wife. We go out, we work, we have kids, we pay our taxes, we contribute to society. And look, tidy towns, yeah, right, of course she does, yeah. This rubbish of,
Well, okay, hang on, let's take her word that she's involved. Do you mind me asking, Katie, where do you live?
Dublin.
In Dublin, all right. So you're involved in a local tidy towns committee here in Dublin?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're out, cleaning up roundabouts and all of that sort of stuff? Very good, okay. Now, that's important, Richie.
Yeah, I accept that. But do you not think it's more important to be out working? Just like you are now, just like I'm literally nipped out, as you say, for 5 minutes as well to go from work. I'm working today, I'm working till God knows what time tonight. You know what I mean? My wife is the same. We have two small kids. She's
okay,
pregnant
but one of the other things that I did hear from Katie is that you have support. You have support from your wife and vice versa.
But that's the choices we make. We have the choices. And then she's gone on about saying about having the government won't pay or something for her to travel to a different country to get the money off the father. That's not my fault. That's not your fault. That's not the taxpayer's fault.
Do you mind me asking, Katie? Do you mind me asking? The father of your children is he still here in Ireland?
No, it's actually really close to England, but still, even though we have all those laws, it doesn't. They can't help me. So I've asked several. I've tried the free legal aid here. I've tried to go on to the social asking. The choices. I've contact the UK, and we have so many treaties and stuff, and they said no.
Right, so he has left this jurisdiction. He's in the UK, and you can't get a red cent out of him.
Yeah,
he just refuses to pay for his children. Now, Richie, I have to say I despise idiots like that as well.
I completely agree with you. I mean, shirking his responsibilities, and whatever happened, we don't know what happened either. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's none of our business, except that she...
No, I completely agree. But she's sitting on her arse for the last 10 years enjoying her holidays, while the rest of us haven't. And through the bad times, through the good times, I have two brother-in-laws, electricians, lost their jobs during it, went on the dole. One of them, his wife, wasn't able to work for medical reasons. That's fine. They had 4 children, which he was providing for. Went on the dole. They offered him €70 a week for 4 children. This is a man who has worked, and then his apprenticeship has worked, has never ever asked the government for a cent. And then in 2008 when he lost his job, he went and did a different job, and it was nothing to do with what his qualifications were, but it was literally, I'll get up off my arse and I'll find anything just so I can work. The same as myself. I have a good job now. It's a decent job. When I was younger, I cleaned toilets, I cleaned windows, I did anything just so I didn't have to walk into that dole office and claim.
And you and me both. I would clean toilets before I'd sign on the dole again. I have to be honest, and I've always been like that. And I've only ever, thank God, touch wood and all that, only ever been on the dole once in my entire life. But the point is, some people are in that trap, the trap that Katie is in, that is very hard to break out of.
I honestly just think it's excuses from her, and then, as I say, from the whatever was the 7,000 or 8,000 that haven't been working for 10, 20 years.
And I'd love to talk to one of those wasters, but they're not going to come on air and admit that they're wasters. And I admire Katie for at least having the balls to say, hello, I've been on the dole for over 10 years. But let me just read out this message that's just come into us, and it says, oh my God, can people not see that Katie is the primary carer of her young children? What if she gets a job and her children become sick? She has no family support. She, like her kids, has no one else. It is all men ringing in, giving out about her. What do you say to that?
Well, no, I can understand in that sense, but I mean, if her child gets sick, then she can't work. She'll have to come home from work. She'll have to spend time off work. That's fine. If an employer doesn't understand that, well then, sure, look, I can understand that point of view. But her life, she's chosen to have them children, right? She's chosen for whatever reasons. And
but Katie, I assume at the time you chose to have those children, it was a happier time in your life where you were in a better situation relationship-wise.
Oh, yes. But I mean, we had a long, good relationship. We were already together, way before, 4 or 5 years before actually having the first child. So we were fine, but and I did work. I mean, I've worked in my life for 15 years, paid and stuff. So I mean, it's not that I'm here and sat on the dole since I was born. And my kids go into the age of over 18, I will smack them if they don't go to work. They won't be the ones sitting on the dole, because I don't know. I don't know who's on the call now there, the man.
Richie.
Regardless. Imagine, me, haven't worked for 10 years, regardless of a window washer or a toilet cleaner, my first monthly salary starting a new job, I can't imagine getting more than 3,000 on the hand. The taxes go off it, if, let's say I get 3.5, tax would go half it. I get 3,000 rent. People, I'm living 3 people in the house.
Sorry,
I can't be in the room.
Sorry, Katie, I'm going to have to cut across you there because your phone line is really, really bad. We'll try and get a clearer line to you. Jeremy's here with messages coming in on text, on WhatsApp and on social media.
I'll be honest with you, Adrian, 80% of the text messages coming in are regarding Katie. That one, Katie, is exactly what's wrong with this country. Excuse after excuse. The medical card and all the benefits should be gone after 18 months. Here's one for you, Adrian. Tell Kennedy to get down off his high horse. He's speaking down to that woman and
I never once spoke down to her.
I'm begrudging her what she gets. It's easy for you in your cushy job.
Cushy job, okay. We work hard.
By the way, I don't think your job is cushy.
No, it's not. It's actually quite hard sometimes.
And I'm defending Adrian here, but it's not hard, but that's not why I'm defending. I'm defending Adrian from the point that the job that Adrian works in, and in fact that I work in, is by no means a cushy job. It's a performance-based job where Adrian's employment here at 90LFM is purely based on how he performs on the radio show, unlike a lot of other jobs. And if the ratings...
In other words, I don't have a job for life. I could be chucked out this year.
You've no security whatsoever. No job security. Well, you have some jobs.
Anyway, sorry, the point I was trying to make is I've always worked hard. I've always worked at... I've never been out of work bar 3 months on the dole when I was 21. But, yeah. I'm not picking on that woman, by the way.
Some people think
I do understand the situation and the trap that she's in, especially with a dickhead of a father of her children who just shagged off.
And in fact, that's the point that this texter makes out. It says, the problem here is not Katie. The problem here is the deadbeat dad that's in England. Why is she not pursuing him through the court?
She's tried. She's after explaining that.
Yes, she's explained. And bar extraditing the man to Ireland, which is not going to happen over that. There's not more she can do. I'm so disgusted listening to that woman, Katie. I got up at 7:30 this morning to go to work. So did my wife. Tell Katie that's because of people like her. They should have done away with long-term unemployment a long time ago. These people are just sitting here doing nothing. And then final text, Adrian, maybe it's something that we can explore. This is something I've heard about, but I've no evidence of this happening. And I'm wondering, does anybody have evidence of this? People on the dole are going to businesses and employers and getting them to sign a form to say that they're actively job seeking. It's a huge scam that is going on.
That's well known. That's well known.
It's well known, but is there any
I know of one particular bar that had a guy come in and said, "Hey, would you sign this for me?" And they did.
What happened?
He went in.
So Joe Soap walks into a bar.
I applied for a job in such and such a pub. Will you please sign this here? And they did.
So you heard that from a mate of a mate?
Well, no, I heard that from the horse's mouth.
If anybody has any examples of that happening, because I've heard this for years as well, and I wonder does it actually happen, or is it one of these urban myths? That people who are on long-term unemployment benefit, that they're going into, as Adrian says, into a cafe or a pub and going up to Mr. Kennedy, who runs the pub, and saying, "How are you, Mr. Kennedy? Listen, I'm unemployed and I really don't want to work. I don't want a job. Come here, you wouldn't stamp that form and say that I did a job interview with you." That's not happening.
It is happening. We'll take a quick break. We'll take some more of your calls in just a moment.
98 FM's Dublin Talks with Des Kelly Interiors. Huge January sale now on in all departments. 98 FM.
So we were asking just before the break there about how widespread this thing is of, people going to employers and saying, "Here, will you stamp that for me to say I went for a job here?" We got this, in fact, a number of people knowing of this going on widespread. If you want to send us a WhatsApp voice message, if you don't have time to take a call because you're in work or whatever, you can do exactly that, like this person just did.
Lads, I have a friend that got 10 different businesses to sign up them letters for the dole so we could stay on it. And he got the 10 different businesses to sign up. They do it for him and all, no problem.
There you go. 10 different businesses signed letters for him, no problem. Stephen, you are an employer.
Yes, I am, yeah.
Yeah, go on.
I set up for a couple of months ago, I set up 40 odd interviews. All agreed to show up via email. We sent an email, they accepted. 3 people showed up for the interviews. 3 people. Out of the ones that didn't show up, we had 13 people had the cheek to ask us to sign these letters saying that they had the interview, and we refused to do it.
Good for you. Because listening to that message that I just played there a second ago, it seems to be an awful lot of companies just say, yeah, there you go, go on.
Yeah, we don't do. We have vans parked up. We're looking for maintenance staff left, right and centre. We have vans. We give them a phone. We give them vans. They have the fuel cards. We couldn't offer them. They're on over €600 a week with us, and we still can't get the staff because it's more. They get more being on the labour than they do going to get a full-time job.
Where do you think, and this brings us back to the start of this conversation, where do you think the cut-off point should be? Or should there be a cut-off point?
There should be a cut-off. Even some family members that have of mine that has never worked a day in their lives. There should be a cut-off point when they're in good health. Do you know what I mean? When they should be out doing things. I know.
By the way, sorry to cut across you mentioned about good health and all that. This conversation doesn't even touch on the whole disability benefit area where an awful lot of people are claiming disability benefit, and there's not really that much wrong with them at all. But anyway, that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, that's another story. But I know of another company as well. They were looking for postmen all around. They held 60 interviews in between the Ballymun and Finglas area. They offered out them interviews. They offered 40 jobs. Less than 10 showed up on the training day.
Really? So they actually had a job.
They offered the job, yeah, and less than 10 showed up to start on the training day.
Are we talking about really bad jobs here? Are we talking about all right jobs?
Well, as a postman, a bad job.
No.
As a maintenance man going around with a van full of tools in your own van, company van, a mobile phone, on €600 a week or more, working Monday to Friday, is that a bad job?
No, certainly not, no.
Do you know what I mean? Is it not for their own peace of mind and for their own mental health?
That's the bit that I could never get my head around. I can't understand how somebody can sit around all day doing nothing. I get bored after 4 hours, let alone a full 12 hours at home. I just can't get my head around it. Here, have a listen to this message, Stephen. I was in an off licence recently, and some scanger came in wearing a tracksuit, asked the man to sign a form saying that he had applied for a job there. The staff member said, have you got a CV? And he said, no, I don't need one. Just sign this for social welfare.
That's the way it is. It's crazy. That's crazy.
Unbelievable. All right, stay there for a second. Carl, you're on Dublin's 98 FM. Hi, Carl.
Adrian, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Carl. Yeah, go on.
I would agree with most of what Katie is saying. The vast amount of them that are on 20 years plus would be single mothers or mothers that decided to take having children as a career path. You know what I mean? And what they say that they give no contact with the father, I don't believe that at all, because I know from experience and know from people that they are in contact with them and they do get money off them. It's just a way of like staying in the dole for as long as possible. I also know of people as well, or seen people from where I'm originally from, where they would be kind of criminals or sell drugs on the side, but also still claiming the dole. Do you know what I mean? Where
would you have the cut-off point, Carl, in terms of how long you can claim welfare?
To be honest with you, it was not even more of a cut-off point, though. I wouldn't give the dole to anyone until they're over the age of 25. Do you know what I mean?
So you wouldn't give the dole to anyone over the age of 25?
No, till they're over 25.
Oh, till they're over 25. Well,
that's 18, 19, 20,
okay,
21,
but the rates for people under 25 are lower.
You'll probably find that the vast amount, as Kate was saying, of ones that are 20 years plus are more women than men, to be honest with you. Because you probably seen yourself or know yourself that like there is women who have children who are 16, 17 and 18 and still on the dole, like, do you know what I mean? And they're still saying that, like, oh, I have to look after the child. It's like he's 16, like, what do you have to look after him for?
Yeah, that's a fair point, I suppose. Let me read just one or two more of your messages. Adrian, I've been unemployed since last March as I can't find a job. I'm an experienced administrator with 6 years' experience. If Stephen has a job for me that I can go to, I don't drive, I will happily take it. You see, unfortunately, he was talking about people driving and all of that. I couldn't be on the social welfare all my life, and it's driving me crazy being unemployed this long. And to that person who sent a message, another way of improving your job prospects is to, while you're unemployed, learn how to drive. Use the time. Get out and do your lessons. And that's just another string to your bow when you are applying for a job. As far as I know, the jobs that he was talking about are jobs that require you to drive and maintenance and everything else. A lot of you... Sorry, did we find out from Stephen what the company is or how people apply? A lot of people been on to us asking what company Stephen is... He said he had 45 jobs, or he had an awful lot of jobs. I'll have the details for you in just a second. Karen, you can't believe what you're hearing today. Why?
No, not at all. At the time, now I'm going back 5 years, I had 3 children under 7, a boy and twins. So the first year, I couldn't do anything. But I couldn't stay at home, so I wasn't qualified to do anything.
Sorry, when you say you couldn't stay at home, you just couldn't stomach staying at home?
Oh, no, I was cracking up staying at home. Just like doing nothing, staying at home with the kids wasn't for me. So I set up my own dog walking company. Kids can come with me during the holidays. If they're sick, they can come with me or whatever. You walk dogs, you come home. I have my own money, my own independence, and no excuse for anybody to be on long term. It doesn't cost much to set it up. You register the name and you do it through Facebook. It's free. No excuse.
All right, now... I said a second ago, Karen, that a lot of people have been on to us, and I want you to listen closely. We are not going to be sending this out by email. It is your responsibility to write this email address down, okay? We're not going to be sending WhatsApp messages back to everybody who's been on to us. So please listen very closely. We were talking a couple of minutes ago about those jobs. They are with a company called Simpson's Property Care, and all you have to do is send an email to them expressing an interest in any jobs they might have. The email address is info, I-N-F-O, at spcireland.com. Info at spcireland.com. If you are one of the many people, and we're after getting loads of messages from people interested in whatever jobs he may have, info at spcireland.com. That's the only time we're going to say it. I've given you the opportunity. It kind of annoys me sometimes when we do stuff like this, that people, ring our office and I can't say it anymore. No emails, no calls. I am giving you the information for those jobs. Don't expect us to WhatsApp the details to you. Listen to me closely. Info at spcireland.com. And the name of the company is Simpson's Property Care. Now, I'm not holding your hand. Do it yourself. Okay, thank you very much indeed. That's it from us for today. Thank you for joining us. Back with you again tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Barry Dunn is next. And in the next hour, some great music like these.
Love you. Let me be the one to say, can only get better. If our love is tragedy, why are you my remedy?
98 FM's Dublin Talks with Des Kelly Interiors. Huge January sale now on in all departments. 98 FM.